Good morning, everybody. It is 11 o'clock, and guess what time it is? It's for Fight CPS with Mike Bartz, tactics, tricks, and traps. But anyways, just wanted to say good morning. I'm Mike Bartz, your host. I'm not an attorney, never pretended to be one. If I give you legal advice, do exactly the opposite of what I'm telling you, because I stepped in this deep. And so I come from a position of experience. Just real quick, I'll update you real quick. Back in March of this year, they took our daughter. They took my wife and I's daughter. Yeah, I know you're all looking at the screen going, well, you're such an old SOB though. How can you have a kid old enough to go into CPS? My daughter was 16 months old at the time. I'm sorry, 13 months old at the time. 14 months old at the time. Yes, I'm 60 years old. And yes, I'm married to a woman 30 years my junior. Not recommended for the faint of heart. I mean, you gotta realize what you're stepping into when you step into it. But like I said, I don't recommend it for the faint of heart. But anyways, they took our child, and we fought for months and months, and living through CPS's tricks and traps and walking through them. And well, we walked out the other end, with our daughter home and CPS case closed. So it's just, it's hell, folks. It's all I can tell you. And it was basically, and the reason why I'm doing this show is because it's basically naivety on people's parts. I just want people to be informed of what's going on out there, and what these people are doing to take your children and to ruin your families. There's a guy that on YouTube, and look him up. His name is, what is his name? Malibu Dallas. He's on YouTube. His real name is Stan. But he goes by Malibu Dallas on YouTube. This man is not a lawyer either. I mean, he can't give you legal advice, but the man has got some knowledge. I'm not exactly sure. I've never sat down and talked to the man. I really want to. Just never sat down and talked to the man, so I don't know where his experience comes from or where his knowledge comes from. But he put together a trifold thing. It looks like this. And it's got a bunch of information that really applies to my show. And I'm going to go through some of the stuff that he's put in here. And I hope you don't mind. Don't bother writing this stuff down, because this is recorded and this will be played back forever. We are real human. Just got news. They're separating the siblings again. They're placing my youngest in a therapeutic home and placing the Toys Boys on a trial home with father. I have so many emotions right now. I know you do. Just hang in there, okay? Don't get lost. Those emotions are CPS's design. They do that to you just to keep you confused, keep you upset, and keep you on your toes, and keep you on your heels. I mean, just to keep you off balance. They want me to file for custody of my youngest because the father is abusive. I'm going to work on that. Well, if that's what they want you to do, do it. Get that youngin' home. Get it out of CPS's hands. Miss Ariel Hopkins, how you doing, darling? Haven't seen you on one of our shows in a while. You and I need to talk, though. I mean, you and I really seriously need to talk, because I have some information for you, Ariel. You and Nick, both. You're in a situation that you're probably not aware of, and that I think I can give you some direction on. Okay. So reach out to me as far as a phone call, or I'd rather talk to you than text it all out, because my texting skills suck. So please just give me, if you get a chance, and give me some time. I'm going to want a 3-way call you in with somebody else. So make sure you have a block of time cleared out for us. All right. And I think we can help you. All right. Well, but anyways, good to see you here, Ariel. It really makes me smile to see you there. We are human. We are all human. All I can say is get that child home. Do not mess around. Get that child, get custody of that child, and bring that child home. That's all I can say to that. Just do it, do it, do it. But anyways, first things first. Let's talk about when they're at your door. Some of the questions you're going to want to ask, and this is off of Dallas's Malibu Dallas's brochure. When they're at your door, some of the questions you're going to want to ask: do you have a warrant? And wait for the answer. And of course, if they don't have a warrant, then you do not have to let them in. You do not have to talk to them. You do not have to do anything. You don't have to converse with them. You don't have to interact with them. You can just politely excuse yourself, shut the door, or walk away, or whatever it is. They cannot detain you. Do you have a warrant? Number 2, do you have a court order or emergency removal order? And that's if they want to come in and get your children. And of course, the answer is no to either one of those. Shut the door. Do not carry on the conversation at that point. Always be calm and collected. And that's absolutely correct. Always be calm and collected. But yeah, they always have to be calm and collected. And number 4, always ask what the exact allegations are. And if you're able to record it, record it. They hate being recorded, but record it if you can get it. And then the 5th and final question is, what's your state license number? I don't know about everybody's state, but here in North Carolina, they're required to be licensed. So I'm not sure that they are in South Carolina. I don't know in Mississippi. I don't know Alabama. I don't know Michigan. I don't know Maine. I don't know Indiana, Philadelphia. I don't know any of them. So if they were required, and I don't know if we can get a link to that posted, but I'll try and get that link posted. But there is a link where you can actually check to see if they got a license. If the CPS agent or DSS agent, depends on where you're at, or DHS agent, does not leave once you tell him or her to, you can have them trespassed off your property. And yes, that requires you to call the law and tell that officer, I want them trespassed. Get them off my property. Dela Cruz, Victoria, Vanessa Dela Cruz. Just put a message up from Facebook. My judge seen CPS lies and told them to give me back my kids back to me after a year. I'm on maintenance. I become homeless during the case, and I have to jump when CPS says I lost my 7-year job because they refused to give me a referral for daycare. My case is supposed to close in 2 weeks, but the worker wants to keep it open for 6 more months because now they say they want to help me with housing, but they refuse to give me a housing referral voucher until my kids are back. I had my kids back for 6, and I got to scroll here. Hold on 1 second. But all I got was I had my kids back for 6, and that's the end of the message. Victoria, Vanessa, I don't know what name you go by, Dela Cruz. Congratulations, first off, you getting your kids back. I'm glad the judge said, CPS are jerks, give her kids back. So I'm glad to hear that. That's bravo. Good job. Way stick it out. Keep fighting, Mom. You did good. The bad thing is you lost your job. Yeah. I mean, that is actually a very common thing when fighting CPS. My soon-to-be ex-wife, she's employed with the U.S. Postal Service, and thank God that her postmaster and her supervisors are really cool, because they covered her backside on all these hearings and all these court hearings and all the visitations and all that stuff. So she was very lucky. She dodged a bullet, but I know she was starting to stretch that thin, because I mean the time that they require you to take off from work is astronomical. Me, I'm not working because of my head. I mean, I haven't worked in years because of my head. Because prior to my surgery, I was having 30 to 40 grand mal seizures, flopping on the floor like a fish type seizures a day. So I haven't been able to work for years. She had her kids back for 6 months. Can they keep my case open, or can I ask it to be closed? Am I any housing program? I'm living in a hotel. Victoria, I don't know where you're located. I don't know what state you're located in. I would imagine, I mean, I'm not an attorney, so I can't just outright answer your question, but I imagine there's a way to tell them to kiss your backside. I don't know what the judge said. Did the judge say keep it supposed to be closed in 2 weeks, or did the judge? Oh, you're in Woodland, California. You need to get on. You need to get on Mr. Davis's show. Get on. Look up Vincent Davis, and get on his show. He's going to be one more apt to answer your questions. Mr. Davis is a 30-year attorney. He's been, and that's who I work with and who I work for, is Mr. Davis. And he's been doing this for 30 plus years. The man has strategies and has forgotten more about CPS law and arguments. And he's out there in California. So I know he's going to have some answers for you. I mean, I know he would have answers for you. But yeah, if you could send your email to my producer, Grace, if you could post your email address, please. If you could send your email address to Grace, she would probably do a lot better getting you on with him. But he's the one you really need to talk to. I'm just a flyboy that had this kid taken away, and I'm just trying to keep my head down so I don't get lopped off while I'm doing this. You're absolutely right, Victoria Vanessa Dela Cruz. I don't think they're there to help you. I really don't think they're there to help you at all. They're so full of BS. I mean, they're so full of BS. It's a con job. I mean, there's plenty of private organizations out there that can help a mother with kids. But you really want to get stable before your kids come home. Whether it's a home, a family member's home, wherever you're staying, you want to get someplace solid. I do know that. There you go, Miss Dela Cruz. You can see all the Grace addresses up there. You're going to want to email her your email address, and she will do what she can to get you on the show. Okay. Oh, you have your kids already. Well, good for you. But yeah, get out of the hotel, get into someplace stable, and tell them, and quit talking to DSS. I know you think that you have to jump every time they say jump, but really stop talking to them. Stop interfacing with them, because all they're going to do is they're just going to use everything they see, do, and hear against you. That's my advice. And that's a dad's advice dealing with CPS. Stop talking to them. All right. Just stop dealing with them. The only time you really have to deal with them is in a courtroom. And if you're not in a courtroom, cut it off. Stop. Just don't answer the phone. Don't answer emails. Don't answer texts. Just don't. Unless it's a court hearing, you do not have to converse with these fools. Don't do it. Just stop all until you get some advice, until you know where you're going. All right. Until you get an idea what's going on. Another piece of advice. Pursuant to our Fourth Amendment right, you do not, and you just tell them, pursuant to my Fourth Amendment right, I'm not consenting to you entering my home. I'm not consenting to you to search my car. I'm not consenting to you picking my nose. I mean, you just don't consent to anything when it comes to these fools. Do not open your door and say, well, you can come in and take a real quick look. That's not going to happen. They're coming in. They're going to stay there. They're going to go through your cupboards. They're going to go through your refrigerator. They're going to count your outlets, how many you have outlet covers on them. If your drawers have safety guides or locks on them for the toddlers, I mean, they're going to be very intrusive. So don't let them, don't consent them to enter in your home, your car, your business. Don't give them consent to do anything. All right. If the police are there, please believe me when I tell you, in order for the police to enter your house, they have to have a warrant or court order to snatch that child. That's the only way they come in. CPS love to use the police. They use it as an intimidation tactic. But it's, believe it or not, it is illegal. And it's illegal pursuant to the 42 USC 12203. That's 42 USC 12203. It's illegal for them to intimidate you. It's illegal for them to try and coerce you into complying to what they want you to do. But look up that code, and that code will tell you a little bit more about what I'm talking about right now. But yeah, so, I mean, I got tased. This is how intimidating they try to be. I mean, I got tased. I mean, come on. All they had to do was just whisper in my ear. I would have gone about my business. All they had to do is let me kiss my daughter goodbye, and I would have gone on about my business. But because you come at me like a badass and you think you're going to be a bully and you think you're going to try and run me off, wrong answer. I got bad news for you. I'm just a big old dumb country boy, and I'm going to dig my heels in and stand there with you. But anyways, yeah, so they try to intimidate. Don't fall for it. I don't know how long I was muted. How long was I out, Grace? What was the last thing you heard? But anyways, I don't know if you heard that last part that I said. If the police are there, they need a warrant as well. I don't know if you heard that part. But anyways, if the police are there, do not be intimidated by those badges and the guns, because those badges and guns are useless if you close your door or don't answer your door. Because if they have a warrant, they're coming in. Delight Better Pen. The police came to terrorize me. My landlords, they do the same, or at that time. I'm a CNA, but he sent them personally. The police officer 1 in 6 who walked up to me, called me a bully, and told me, no, I don't. I don't know what that was all about. Yes, Ariel, I got tased. Wow. But anyways, D-Light says, I said, yes, I do. He had a form He had formed an opinion. His hand screaming, sign your rights away for a good hour. My daughter ran away. I was here since that day. I'm autistic and I have trauma and depression and depressed. D-Light, how you doing, darling? And I'm guessing by the name, you're a mom. I'm sorry, but I just can't make no sense of anything. Sorry, I said I have PTSD. He said, no, you don't. Yeah, don't let these cops intimidate you. But like I said, you can't hear me now? Can you hear me? Grace, can you hear me? Somebody talk to me. Hello? Can anybody tell me if I'm talking? I know I'm talking. I just don't know if anybody can hear me. Oh, okay. You can hear me. Okay, good. Thank you, Grace. But anyways, pursuant to 42 USC 12203, that's 42 USC 12203. Look that case file up, and it'll tell you about intimidation by the CPS and the police. All right, because it's illegal for them to purposely intimidate you or try to scare you into or coerce you into doing something that you don't want to do. Is actually illegal. But it's something. Another thing I've always said is never sign anything with CPS. When you sign a contract, when you sign a contract with CPS, you give them jurisdiction over you. You admit guilt. You consent to talking to your kids at that point. And if the CPS agent is telling you, if you don't sign it, then we'll put your kids in foster care and you won't see them. Tell them that would be a felony pursuant to 18 USC 872 extortion. If you do not sign an agreement, then autograph it and then put void where prohibited by law under it. That's pretty sneaky. I never thought about that. Void where prohibited under the law. I never thought about doing something like that. That's actually pretty ingenious. If you do not sign an agreement, then autograph it and put void where prohibited by law. That is just absolutely genius. I love that. I like that. All right. Implied consent. This is another thing you folks need to know about. Implied consent. The more you voluntarily speak with CPS, you give implied consent. In other words, the more you talk to them, you're giving them implied consent to continue talking to you, and you give them implied consent to keep things going with you. There's no law in any state that forces you to comply or communicate with CPS. That's what I was trying to tell. What was it? Miss Victoria Vanessa Dela Cruz. Stop talking to these fools. There is no law that says you have to talk to these people. D-Light. If you're here in the United States, then yeah, do not talk to them. Stop talking to these fools. Stop entertaining them because you're giving them implied consent. Most of their evidence comes from parents running their mouth and talking too much. Even if what you say is perfectly innocent, they will twist your words and falsify statements in order to meet their agenda. And their agenda is to take your children. Their agenda is to put your kids on that treadmill, that financial treadmill, Title IV money, and they will keep your kids regardless on how you fight and regardless how good your attorney is, you're getting at least a 6-month battle, at least a 6-month battle. Ariel, I'm sorry I missed part of your story along with tasing, but you got tased in front of CPS by the police. What in the F did you do to deserve that? I was being Mike Bartz. I'm sorry. That's the only way I can say it. My cockiness and arrogance and my despise and disdain for police, especially sheriff's department. It was actually when I got tased, I was actually at a designated safety or child safety exchange point, which is located outside the sheriff's department in our town. It's actually part of their parking lot, and yeah. I was there for a long story short. I was there for 45 minutes with my daughter. My wife showed up, and my daughter took off running to my wife because she was excited to see mom. She didn't give me typical, 18-month-old, 17, 19-month-old baby. They don't care about kissing goodbye and saying I love you and giving hugs, but it means something to us adults, mom and dads. Well, I didn't get that, so I followed after my daughter. My wife snatched her up and took her and put her in her car. And my truck was parked across the parking lot, and so I followed her over to the car and went to the rear passenger door. Now, mind, it's a regular car, so I was at the rear passenger door. And my wife was screaming and hollering, and I told her to shut the F up. Well, the cop pulled up. I mean, he was sitting a block away. He was sitting in a parking lot across the street. I mean, he was a good 100, 150 yards away when it all started. And he pulled over in his squad car. And as soon as he pulled over in the squad car, he locked eyes with me, and I knew I was in trouble. I mean, here I am, 6'7", a little over 300 pounds. My soon-to-be ex, she's 5'4", soaking wet, maybe 120 pounds, soaking wet, maybe. And here's this big, ugly guy, goatee, tattoos, bald head. Definitely looked too old to have a child that age. And here's this young damsel in distress. And that's my opinion, but the cop come over to try and rescue the damsel in distress, pulled up to me and proceeded to yell at me to go back to my truck. And I looked at him dead in his eyes, and I, not in these polite words. And of course, I had some, Mike Bartz accented words for him. I hear you. I know you want me to go back to my truck, and I will comply with that. Now, like I said, these are not the words I used. I was far more profane, and I was probably a little bit more aggressive than this, but I hear you. I'll go back to my truck. But I tell you what, here's the deal. I haven't had a chance to kiss my daughter goodbye, and I will go to jail over my daughter or kissing my daughter goodbye. If that's how you want to handle this, then let's get to it, because I'm ready. And so he stuttered, and he looked up at me and he says, well, go ahead and kiss her goodbye then. And I said, okay, I will. So I opened the car door and I kissed my daughter goodbye. And then he said, well, I said, get to your truck. I started heading back to my truck. And then as I was heading back to my truck, I was at the driver's side front bumper, from the rear passenger door on this side. I had walked all the way around and was standing right here. And all of a sudden I heard something from behind me. So I went to turn and answer him, and zap, he got me. I mean, there was a lot of conversation about, are you going to F and shoot me with a taser right here in front of my daughter? I mean, there was a bunch, and I was throwing F-bombs left and right. And I wasn't being very polite. And I guess from a guy my size, it's, an intimidation tactic, but okay, I'm good with that. But I can't believe he tased me. And I reached down, and this is where he freaked out, because I reached down and pulled the taser out. I didn't even go down. I just reached down and pulled the taser and wire, the probes out and threw them on the ground. And that little fat boy with a pistol and bats, he was hauling butt back to his squad car. I don't know what he was going for, but I turned around and there was 4 squad cars pulling in that parking lot. And I was like, oh no. I don't know how many it's going to take, but I know how many they're going to use to arrest me. So I just put my hands up on the wall and just said, okay, you got me. What do you want to do? But yeah, so I got tased. It's not something I recommend. I mean, you have to be really completely pissed off not to go down from a tasing, because that really did hurt. It burnt. It burnt me really bad too. Can they legally put your children in a home? Finally reunited with my boys, but did so 4 hours away from the bottom of my state. How is that okay? Can they legally put my children in a home 4 hours away, all the way to the bottom of my state? Ariel, darling, they can put your children anywhere. They can put your children in Alaska. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember parts of our conversation, your kids are already 3 hours away from you, aren't they? So another hour, yeah, that's not a stretch to their imagination whatsoever. But in each state, they have reciprocity with each CPS office or DSS office. They cover each other's backsides. They really do. If you want to send a child to us, we'll take the money. We're not shy. If you want to take one of our children, we'll send you one of ours, because we're not shy. We're spread the wealth. That's a lot of money to go around. So yes, they can send your child 4 hours away. They can send your child states away. They can send your child even countries away. So yeah, don't, and I don't know how that's okay. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but yeah, they can. But like I said, Ariel, you and I need to have a conversation, you and I, Nick, and I'm probably going to 3-way you in on with somebody else. It's got some valuable information for you. Yeah, I just think that that's going to help you. And Melissa, if you're hearing me, Ariel's the person that I'm talking about, that I was talking to you about today, with the cousin in the courtroom and all that stuff. So I just want to give you a heads up. All right. But anyways, implied consent. Let's go over that a little bit more. The more you voluntarily speak to CPS agent, you give implied consent. There is no law in any state that forces you to comply or communicate with CPS. Most of their evidence comes from parents running their mouths and talking too much. Even if what they say or what they are saying is perfectly innocent, the words, sorry, there's a fly or something trying to buzz at me. They will twist your words and falsify statements in order to meet their agenda. And their agenda is to take your kids. And that's to get your kids into custody so they can start collecting that federal money. It really is. Here's a couple case laws for you. Simmons v. versus United States, 390, U.S. 377, and this is from 1968. The claim and exercise of the Constitution right cannot be converted into a crime. A denial of them would be a denial of due process of law. If that doesn't make sense, what that is basically saying is they cannot. When you exercise your constitutional rights by saying, I'm exercising my constitutional right and of the Fifth Amendment. I'm not talking to you. I'm not answering my questions. I'm not answering no questions. I'm not giving you my name. I'm not. I'm not telling you my shoe size. You don't have to discuss it with them. You do not have to. And if the claim of exercising your constitutional rights cannot be converted into a crime, in other words, they cannot charge you with a crime for denying it. And if they do that, that would be a denial of due process by law, which is illegal. And you've got a lawsuit. Get yourself a civil lawsuit going, and you can take them. Shearer v. colon 481, and that's SHERAR, middle initial V, last name spelled CULLEN, 481. F is in Frank, 2D is in Delta, 946 of 1973. There can be no sanction or penalty imposed upon one because they are exercising their constitutional rights. If that doesn't make sense, I mean, you cannot be sanctioned, or you can't receive any kind of penalty, and that includes imprisonment and jail, handcuffs, detainment, imposed upon because someone exercises their constitutional right. They just cannot do that. Warning, as per USC Title 18, Section 242, you are acting under the color of law and you're depriving me of my rights. If you come with another, Title 18, Section 241, and if you come with another, Title 18, Section 241 says it is a conspiracy to deprive me of my rights and applies both and other felonies, and you are committing, or that you are committing. If you continue, I will be forced to file a criminal and tort charges against you personally and your private capacity under 42 USC 1983. I may sue the state and local officials for the depravity of my rights, privileges, immunities secured by the Constitution and federal law. Let me read that again, since I pretty much butchered it. As per USC Title 18, Section 242, you are acting under the color, and this is what you said to the police officer, you are acting under the color of law, and you are depriving me of my rights. If you come with another or accusation or charge, Title 18, Section 241 says that it is a conspiracy to deprive me of my rights and applies both and other felonies you are committing. If you continue, I'll be forced to file a criminal and tort charges against you personally in your private capacity. And under 42 USC 1983, I may sue your state, your local officials for the deprivation of my rights, privileges, and immunities secured by the Constitution and the federal laws. If that doesn't make sense, that's basically telling them that you can sue them if they keep going. Hey, Deidre, how you doing, darling? I haven't talked to you in a long time. You and I need to catch up. Mama SJJKKS. He is so right. Don't tell social worker a thing. They act like they're there for you, but they are snakes and will twist everything you say. It's pathetic. Hi, Deidre, or hi, Mike. It's Deidre. I guess I'm not good enough for you anymore now that I decide to pause my time of hosting any shows. Deidre, you're at the top of my I love you page. Shut up. D-Light, Better Pan. Do I have a right to look at the evidence? What if there's no evidence other than people saying I'm bad? But they didn't ask anyone anything Do I just try to move on, or should I fight? Thank you, Deidre. But D-Light, I have to go back and look. I think you said you got your kids back, right? I'm looking. Give me 1 second. I'm not froze up. You guys aren't froze up. I'm just looking. The SWAT team came and took my daughter and ran away. With my daughter, ran away. I haven't seen her since. Shut the front door. Melissa, you do have the right to look at your evidence. And this is a reply to you, D-Light. Yes, I was getting ready to answer that. You do have the right to look at your evidence. Actually, here in North Carolina, I'm not sure about where anybody else is, but here in North Carolina, you have the right to ask for a complete copy of the DSS file as part of your discovery. When you get into a court case, you have the right for discovery. And all you got to do is request it. Here in North Carolina, I didn't even have to fill out a piece of paper. I called the DSS worker and I told her what I wanted. And then I followed that up with a email to the prosecuting attorney that's handling the case. Next thing I know, in one of my visits, the DSS worker showing up with this big old file and slapped it in front of me. Melissa says to you, D-Light, you should also ask for a certified affidavit of all statements and notes. Absolutely. I asked for everything. I asked for witness lists. I asked for a complete file. I asked for notes from my supervised visitation. I asked for notes of different meetings we had, case planning notes. I wanted copies of everything. I wanted copies of pictures if they have pictures, if they have any recordings of conversations, anything. I wanted it all. But yeah, you can. Don't go to the DA's house. That's crazy. Watch them in court and I refuse to participate. Do not go to the DA's house. That's crazy. Snakes smile before they bite. You're absolutely right, Ariel. Don't go to the DA's house. That's like my soon-to-be ex-wife followed the caseworker back to the foster home. I mean, you just don't do stuff like that unless you want a certain set of bracelets. I mean, and they're not comfortable bracelets, or you end up trying to pull tasers out like I did. Don't do that. Do not go to I mean, I think it's actually illegal. I know it's illegal for the attorneys to talk to the judge by themselves. I mean, so I would imagine having a conversation without someone else there has got to be illegal. All right. But anyways, back to what I was saying. Corpus Juris Sanctum, CJS, Legal Encyclopedia, Volume 7, Section 4. His first duty is to the courts and the public, not the client. They raise their hands to this, folks. Every lawyer raises their hand and swears loyalty to the court. For duh. That's what my daughter calls me, Deidre. Duh. But yeah, these lawyers, they raise their hand, they swear an oath. And when they join the bar, any bar, especially here in the United States, when you join the bar, you raise your hand and you swear allegiance and loyalty to the court. And basically what that means is any judge can sanction you, can fine you, can put you in jail. If you say anything derogatory about the court, against the court, you know, if anything that they deem that is unfavorable, they can sanction you, they can tell you whatever, they can, you know, their loyalties to the courts. Don't ever make that mistake. Just remember their loyalties to the courts first. But anyways, yeah, it's their loyalty is to courts. It's not to, they take an oath to be loyal to the courts. They really do. If you don't believe me, it's right there published in, according to Corpus Juris Sanctum, CJS Legal Encyclopedia, Volume 7, Section 4. Read it. Their first duty is to the courts and the public, not the client. Don't ever think they're on your side, because they will use you and abuse you. If you do not wish contact with them, just remember, always say, I will not submit contract or consent to any officer, agent, or order from any administrative court or private corporation, de facto bar actions. I will treat them equally as I would any other trespasser. So unless you have a warrant from a constitutional article or an Article 3 court that clearly states the exact purpose, place, and thing, and which is backed up by a sworn claim, not a claimant, as anyone can complain, a complainant, I'm sorry, as anyone can complain anything about anything with no consequences. An affidavit of sworn testimony given under oath and under the penalty of perjury, please leave immediately. I hereby plead the fifth. And that's basically what you tell them. You don't talk to these people. So unless you have a warrant from a constitutional article or Article 3 court that clearly states the exact purpose, place, and thing, and which is backed up by a sworn claim, not a complaint, as anybody can complain about anything with no consequences. A sworn affidavit, but we're talking about a sworn affidavit and sworn testimony given under oath and the penalty of perjury, please leave immediately. I hereby plead the fifth. Yeah, we know it's Darren. Yeah, we know it's Darren. That's Darren, my ex co-host on Men in the Trenches. He's got his panties all in a wad. He's got them all twisted up. He's got them all twisted up. His feelings are hurt. But anyways, so yeah, that's the two right there. All right. But yeah, so those, you just want to make sure they have a warrant. And lawyers, you got to be careful, because they do take an oath to protect the court first, or they take the court into consideration first. I'm sorry, my chat's is blowing up. My chat's blowing up. But yeah, so, and it's all because of one guy, my ex-partner, off another show. But anyways, If he wants to be a child, he can be a child. But anyways, so back to the show. But yeah, so y'all just, number one thing, first and foremost, you do not have to give them consent. You do not have to answer the door. And if you do answer the door, ask them if they have a warrant. Do you have a court order or emergency removal order? Always be calm and collected. Always keep you always be cool. Don't be a egotistical Mike Bartz and just raise your voice and get angry with them. All right. Just stay calm and collected. Always ask what the exact allegations are and ask them what their state license number is. Excuse me. And do not ever sign anything with CPS. When you sign a contract with CPS, you give them jurisdiction over you and your child or your children. You admit guilt and you consent to them talking to your kids. Do not give them consent to talk to your kids. Just don't do it. Just don't give them implied consent at all. And like I said, folks, this is not legal advice. This is just information off of like I said, a trifold that I got. I'm just reading it. It's not my words. It's not anything set by Mr. Davis. It's not sent anybody by. It's done by a gentleman. He goes by Malibu Dallas on YouTube, I believe. His real name is Stan. So, and I am completely stealing his information and sharing it with you because I thought it was good. It may be bad. It may be indifferent. It doesn't matter. And I'm still sharing it with you. And Melissa says, and if you already signed something, there's a way to file a paper to revoke your signature. But yeah, there is a way. I mean, and I don't know if you see Melissa in my comments. She's commenting off of Facebook. But anyways, Melissa she's the cat's meow when it comes to information. She really is. I mean, this woman is just amazing. She's my go-to. She's my go-to person for everything. I mean, she's not a lawyer. She just has so much experience. She has stuck her nose where it didn't belong, and she learned a lesson, and she learned it legally. She stepped in dog poo, and she, had to figure out how to get it off her shoes, and she did. She mastered it. This woman is connected from Florida to Washington State, from Utah to Alabama, from Michigan down to Texas. She's got them all. She really does. Justine says, I wish I had known this 2 years ago when CPS knocked on my door here in Ohio. I've been in a 2-year-long custody battle. Jumped through every hoop, passed every drug screen, done every single thing. And Justine, get prepared because it's just, I know it's been 2 years and it feels like an eternity. And I'm sure it is an eternity for you, but yeah, they're going to keep right on. They're going to keep right on pushing you, and they're just going to keep adding things to you. But just keep in mind, you can cut off communication with them at any time. You don't need a lawyer's opinion or advice to stop talking to them. You can refer them to your lawyer. You can have people, you can refer any questions they have to an attorney if you have an attorney. Now, if you're representing yourself, you're going to have to talk to them. You can refer them to your attorney. Those questions need to be directed to my attorney. Please contact my attorney. That's all fine and well. Stop talking to me. You can contact my attorney. But yeah, so hang in there, Justine. Don't give up. I know 2 years is a long time, but don't give up. All right, folks. I've only got 5 minutes left. I've actually talked myself right into being hoarse here. So I'm going ahead and Grace, if you can start the music, I'm going to go ahead and end the show. Thank you for everybody who came on and gave comments. And thanks for everybody who joined me on the show today. And thanks for all the friends and supporters. And also thanks for the enemies. I like enemies because that just shows that you're doing something right if you're pissing somebody off. And I don't mind pissing anybody off. Have a good one, folks. Bye.